Good morning, children.
Morning, ma'am.
Morning, ma'am.
Good morning,
We
ma'am.
learned we learned about the different causes of disease, immediate and contributory causes of diseases in our previous class. So today we'll be learning more about the different types of diseases and also about the different ways in which these diseases spread. Okay? So let us continue with the chapter. Already we started with the classification of diseases, but still from there I will start once again. Infectious and non-infectious diseases. You can categorize, you can classify diseases based on the immediate cause of it. Already we have learned about another classification of diseases based on the disease. Which are those two diseases? How do you classify diseases on the basis of duration? Can anybody tell me? In the beginning of the chapter, we learned about two diseases based on its duration, how long it lasts.
Acute disease and chronic
Correct.
disease.
Very
Acute,
good. Acute and chronic diseases. This is yet another classification of diseases. Here we classify diseases into infectious and non-infectious diseases based on their immediate cause. The immediate causes of the diseases can be of two types. Either it can be some infectious agents like microorganisms. Then you call those diseases as infectious diseases. If the immediate cause of the disease is a particular microbe, then you call it as infectious disease. Then there are non-infectious diseases where the immediate causes are some internal non-infectious causes. As you know, non-infectious diseases will not spread from one person to another. For example, take the case of diabetes. It cannot spread if you spend time with this diabetic patient, or if we talk to him for a long time, or if you what to say, share food from the same plate or use the same clothes, nothing will happen. You are not going to get the disease. It is because such diseases cannot spread from one person to another. They are caused by some internal non-infectious causes. But when a disease is caused by infectious agents like microbes, they do spread from one person to another. Once again, diseases can have two immediate causes. Mainly you can categorize into two types of immediate causes. Either microbes or some internal non-infectious causes. And infectious diseases, the immediate cause will be microbes, whereas in non-infectious diseases, the immediate cause will be some internal non-infectious causes. And we can define infectious diseases as those diseases which spread from an infected person to a healthy person. Diseases which spread from an infected person to a healthy person are known as infectious diseases. And these diseases have their immediate causes microbes, or microbes are the immediate causes of these diseases. Example, common cold, typhoid. So common cold, the immediate cause is virus. For typhoid, the immediate cause is bacteria. And definitely all these diseases will spread from one person to another when you come in contact with these affected persons or these patients. When a person is having common cold, and if you are in close contact with the person, there are chances that you get the disease. Is that clear? Yes.
Yes,
Now
ma'am.
we are moving on to the next slide. Non-infectious diseases, diseases which do not spread. These diseases will not spread from an infectious person or from an infected person to a healthy person. And these are caused due to some internal causes which are non-infectious, like genetic abnormalities, malfunctioning of some organs. Maybe in case of diabetes, their pancreas will not be functioning properly, or some people with some heart disease. So there is some problem with the working of their heart. So it can be due to genetic abnormalities by birth. In the gene, some defect can be there, genetic abnormalities, or poor functioning, defective functioning of the organs, or malnutrition. Malnutrition means poor nutrition. Suppose when you don't have enough nutrients in your food, you can suffer from different deficiency diseases, like vitamin A deficiency can cause night blindness, vitamin C scurvy, vitamin D rickets. If iron is lacking in your diet, if there is not enough iron in your body, you may get anemia. Then if iodine is not there, you can suffer from goiter. All these diseases are not infectious. They do not spread from the affected person to a healthy person. So such diseases which do not spread, we call these diseases as non-infectious diseases which do not spread. Diseases which do not spread from an infected person to a healthy person are known as non-infectious diseases. Now, how are they caused? What are the different reasons? These are caused by internal non-infectious causes. Some examples: genetic abnormalities, defective functioning of organs, then genetic abnormalities, malnutrition. All these are some causes of non-infectious diseases. Examples: certain cancer caused by genetic abnormalities, high blood pressure. Then high blood pressure can be caused when there is no exercise and too much of weight, excessive weight, lack of exercise can lead to high blood pressure, high BP, and even low BP. Then cancers, allergies, diabetes, anemia, goiter, all these diseases cannot spread from one person to another. So such diseases we call as non-infectious diseases. Hope you have understood the difference between infectious and non-infectious diseases. Any doubt? You want me to repeat anything? Any point? Okay. So I hope it's fine. Now we are moving on. Yes. Yes.
Defective.
Defective functioning of organs, malnutrition, defective functioning of organs, genetic abnormalities. These are some reasons which can lead to non-infectious diseases. Now let's see what are the different infectious agents. Infectious agents means organisms, the microbes or any of the organisms which can cause diseases, you can call as infectious agents. What are infectious agents? Organisms that can cause diseases. Example: viruses, bacteria, fungi, protozoans, worms. All these are some of the infectious agents. If you are asked, what do you mean by infectious agents? Give a few examples. So you will write, organisms that cause diseases are known as infectious agents. Example: viruses, bacteria, protozoans, worms, etc. And viruses, they live inside the host cells. You know, viruses are unique when compared to all the other organisms. In class 8, you have learned the chapter microorganisms. You learned about bacteria, fungi, then protozoans, but we keep viruses under a separate category because they are on the borderline between living and non-living. When they are outside a cell, a host cell, they do not show any signs of life. But as they enter into the body of a host cell, this host cell means it can be an animal, a plant, even a bacteria. Any of these organisms they need, and once they enter into the cells of these organisms, they'll multiply and they show signs of life. But when they are outside the body of the host organism, they do not show any signs of life. Hence, viruses are included under a separate category. Viruses live inside host cells. Bacteria very rarely do so. Viruses, bacteria, and fungi, they multiply very quickly. But when compared to them, worms multiply very slowly. So some differences between, or some similarities or differences among different infectious agents are listed here. Viruses, they live inside the host cell, but bacteria rarely do so. Then viruses, bacteria, and fungi, they'll multiply very rapidly. And if you are asked, name an organism which multiply, an infectious agent which will multiply slowly, then you can write worms. And those which multiply faster, viruses, bacteria, and fungi. But out of these, viruses, they cannot multiply on its own. They need a host cell. Only inside the host cell they can multiply. So in the absence of a host cell, they will not show any signs of life. Very, very important. Viruses, it is written they multiply very quickly, but they need a host cell. Only inside the host cell they can multiply. Now moving on to the next point. Here are some infectious diseases. The table is in your textbook, and some of the microbes and the diseases caused by them. For your exam, it can be asked, name some diseases caused by bacteria or virus or fungi. Ulta also they can ask, which microbe causes whooping cough? Or which microbe causes elephantiasis? So like that also it can be asked. Now moving on to the different diseases. Bacteria causes diarrhea, tuberculosis, tetanus, whooping cough. Similarly, virus causes common cold, dengue fever, SARS, and AIDS. SARS is a respiratory disease. AIDS you're familiar with. Fungi causes ringworm. When you hear the term ringworm, don't misunderstand that ringworm is a worm. It's not a worm. It's a name of the disease. Ringworm is the name of the disease. And they cause ring-like patches, round patches on your body. So you call this infection as ringworm. It is caused by a fungus. Ringworm is not a worm. It's a name of a disease. Then elephantiasis, where your limbs, hands and legs get swollen and appears to be like an elephant's legs. So that is why you call this disease as elephantiasis. Then different type of skin infections can be caused by fungi. Next one, protozoa. Protozoa can cause malaria, amoebic dysentery, sleeping sickness, kala azar. Now, hearing the term sleeping sickness, don't think that sleeping in between the classes or addicted so much to sleeping. That is not sleeping sickness. In that particular disease, one symptom is feeling very drowsiness. So that is one important symptom of sleeping sickness, and hence the name sleeping sickness. And kala azar. Kala means in Hindi, it is black color. Kala azar is a disease, is a protozoan disease where the pigmentation of the body changes. The skin color or the pigmentation changes. It gets darkened. That is why the disease got the name Kala azar. So some of the diseases I'll repeat again. Bacterial diseases, diarrhea, tuberculosis, tetanus, whooping cough. Viral diseases, common cold, dengue fever, SARS is a respiratory disease, severe acute respiratory syndrome. You don't have to learn the expansion. It's a respiratory disease. AIDS, already you learned. Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome caused by a virus. Then fungi, ringworm, elephantiasis, skin infections. Protozoans cause malaria, amoebic dysentery, sleeping sickness, and Kala Azar.
Ma'am, you have to write this table.
No, I will send you the notes today.
Yeah.
Now, very, very important topic we are going to discuss. In your descriptive paper, you can definitely expect questions of this sort. Why antibiotics are not effective against viral infections? See, children, now also we or our scientists are struggling to find out vaccine for COVID-19 because COVID-19 is a viral disease. Using antibiotics, we cannot treat or we cannot cure this particular disease. So viral diseases are very difficult to get treated. The reason is very few antiviral drugs are available. Antibiotics are medicines produced from microorganisms which are used to kill or stop the growth of disease-causing microorganisms. We have learned it in class 8. What are antibiotics? Antibiotics are medicines produced from microorganisms used to kill or stop the growth of disease-causing microorganisms. But antibiotics are effective against bacterial or protozoan infections, but not against viral infections. So you need to know why antibiotics are not curing viral infections. So let us learn about that. Antibiotics, once we take these antibiotics, they will block the biochemical pathways. The biochemical pathways means each microbe has got some pathways, like they need to synthesize their cell wall, or different functions are there which will make them or keep them alive. So once they enter the body, bacteria or protozoans or whichever be the microbe other than the viruses, about viruses we'll discuss later. So these organisms, once they enter, they will start multiplying using their biochemical mechanisms or pathways. But when you take antibiotics, they'll block these pathways. Antibiotics will block the biochemical pathways which are important for bacteria. One example, bacteria need to build their cell wall. As they are multiplying and forming new cells, they need a cell wall also. And they need to build their cell wall. But when you take antibiotic, for example, the antibiotic penicillin, when it is taken into your body, it will block the biochemical pathways to build the cell wall. So what happens is, once penicillin is taken, this antibiotic is taken, bacteria will not be able to make their cell wall. So without the cell wall, bacteria cannot survive. So they will die and the person will be cured of the disease. But remember, for all the bacterial diseases, we are not taking penicillin. Different antibiotics are there. But how antibiotic penicillin is working is given here. So different antibiotics, they work differently. And whatever it is, they'll block the biochemical pathways of these microorganisms. Okay, once again, I will tell you, antibiotics, they block. Antibiotics block what? Biochemical pathways. You need to learn these terms. What do antibiotics do? They block the biochemical pathways. Antibiotics will block the biochemical pathways which are important for bacteria. For example, penicillin is an antibiotic. It will block the bacterial pathway for building cell wall. So when it happens, bacteria cannot build cell wall. So without cell wall, bacteria cannot survive. So they will die. and you will be cured of the bacterial disease. And we don't make any cell wall. We don't have cell wall. Animal cells are not having cell wall. So the penicillin which is taken in cannot affect us, cannot interfere with our pathways, because it is specifically attacking the bacterial biochemical pathway to build a cell wall, and cell wall cannot be made. But since we don't have a cell wall, or we don't make a cell wall, it cannot affect us. Many antibiotics, there are many antibiotics, instead of working against a single type of bacteria or single bacterium, they can work against many species of bacteria. So one antibiotic will be effective against many bacteria, not just one bacteria, but it will be effective against a few of them. But viruses do not have, very important, they do not have any biochemical pathways. Then how do they multiply? Viruses, like bacteria, they have their own pathways. They enter our cell, and using their pathways, they will multiply. But viruses, they do not have any biochemical pathways. Then how do they multiply in our body? They enter the body of the host and use the biochemical pathway of the host. Understand the difference. Bacteria, they have their own pathways. They enter the host cell, using their own pathway, they will multiply. But viruses, they are very dependent on the host cell. They don't have their own pathway. They enter the host cell, using the host cell's pathway or biochemical pathways, they will multiply. So if we take some medicines to stop that pathway, it will affect the host cell also. That is why viruses cannot be killed or removed with the help of antibiotics. They enter the host cells and use their machinery for life processes. That is why antibiotics are not effective against viral infections. This topic is very important. I'll repeat it again. Okay, ready to listen once again? Antibiotics, they will block the biochemical pathways which are important for a bacteria. Example, penicillin will block the bacterial pathway for building cell wall. So when that pathway is blocked, bacteria cannot make cell wall and they will die. Okay, but viruses, they do not have any pathways of their own. Then how do they multiply? They will enter the host cell, use this machinery or the biochemical pathway of the host cell to multiply. So in such a case, if you take some medicines to stop the pathway, it will be affecting the host cell also. That is why antibiotics are not effective against viral infections. Hope you have understood the slides which we had seen just now. We started with the differences between infectious and non-infectious diseases. One of you tell me about infectious diseases. What are infectious diseases? Who will tell me? Anybody? You're waiting for me to call out your name? When I ask a question, you should spontaneously answer. Let it be wrong. I have told you, you have all the freedom to make mistakes. We are here to correct your mistakes. One of you start. Yes, yes, that's it.
From an infectious person to a healthy person is called infectious diseases.
Very good. Infectious diseases are the diseases which will spread from an infected person to a healthy person. Rhea, can you tell me the immediate cause of infectious diseases?
Microbes.
Good, very good. Now, non-infectious diseases.
Infection
See,
is
yes.
infection is transmitted through direct contact or medium.
Did you hear my question,
Non
Roshan?
non-infectious
What
disease.
are non-infectious diseases? How do you define non-infectious diseases? Just the opposite of what Raya said.
Not communicable diseases.
Say it in a sentence.
Not
Diseases.
diseases which are non-communicable disease as they pass through
Communicable means, what do you mean by the term not communicable? Which will not
spread
from
direct contact
whom to whom?
one person to other.
From an infected person to other person. And what are the immediate causes, or what are the main reasons for non-infectious diseases? Rachel George, tell me the different reasons, causes.
Ma'am, genetic abnormalities,
Good. Then
malnutrition,
one more.
and what was it?
Defective.
Defective infections.
No. Can anybody help her? 2 points she said correctly. Lena, which is the point she missed out or she was not able to say?
Functioning of organs.
Defective functioning of organs. If you find difficult to say defective, poor functioning of the organs. Poor functioning of certain organs. Rachel, can you tell me the third one once again? You heard Lena saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me.
Genetic abnormalities, malnutrition, and
Last one.
defective functioning of organs.
Very good. Okay, so those are the points which we discussed about infectious and non-infectious diseases. Then we learned a very important point, that is viruses or viral infections cannot be cured with the help of antibiotics. So who is confident enough to say the explanation for that? Why antibiotics cannot cure viral infections? Anybody?
Ma'am,
Yes, Visan, you may start.
uh,
Slowly, I should understand. Okay.
organism which cause disease
Did you hear my question,
Yes, ma'am.
Visan? My question was not what are infectious agents. What I asked is, what did I ask?
Antibiotics.
Why antibiotics are not effective against viral infections?
and they block
Who
the
block?
antibiotics block the biochemical
Pathways
is
important for
important for that
which microbe?
Bacteria.
Okay, bacteria. Okay, I will ask someone else to continue. Navini, continue.
Ma'am,
Ah,
for example, the antibiotic penicillin blocks the bacteria process that builds the cell wall.
good. Then who will continue? Eva?
As the growing bacteria become unable to make cell walls and die easily.
And they will die. Then what about viruses then? Why so many videos are off? You want me to post your names in the group? Isha?
Yes, ma'am.
Continue. So a few points about why antibiotics are not effective against viral infections we discussed. Continue that answer. In viruses, why they are not effective?
ma'am.
Wait. Isha, you know the answer?
No, ma'am.
And one more thing, why you are sitting in dark? I can't see your face. You don't want me to see you?
It's 7:30 here.
Where are
Morning.
you?
Abu Dhabi.
Okay. But you can turn on the light, no dear. Next class onwards, see that you sit in a properly lighted room. Okay,
Okay.
who will sit? Who will say the answer now?
And virus do not have biochemical pathways.
Oh, very good. Roshan is responding so nicely today. Happy to see that, Roshan. Viruses do not have any biochemical pathways of their own. Then how do they multiply? Who can tell me that?
To the host cells.
They enter the host cell and use their pathways to multiply. That is why antibiotics are not effective against viral infections. Okay, children, we'll wind up. So next class, come prepared for the revision test. Okay, thank you, children.
Thank you, madam.